Ever feel like you're stuck in a Sofia traffic time warp? Like those days when you could swear rush hour just never ends. I'm sure I'm not alone here.
You're definitely not alone.
But hey, get this. Today we are diving deep into some major developments in Sofia's urban planning. Specifically, how the city is tackling its, well, pretty terrible traffic congestion.
Right.
And before you think, oh no, not another boring infrastructure update, trust me on this one, this is going to get interesting. We've got a fresh update, like Justin, from Mayor Vasyl Turciev himself.
Okay.
And let me tell you, he has big plans.
I bet.
Plus, we're going to unpack this kind of ambitious Todor Kableshkov Boulevard extension project.
Right.
It's not just about, adding a road. No, this is a key piece of this whole third city ring concept.
Yeah, that third city ring is essentially like Sofia's traffic circulatory system, right?
Right.
It's designed to divert traffic away from the city center.
Okay.
The idea is that once it's complete, it'll work kind of like the ring road does now, but just on a much bigger scale.
Exactly. It's all about creating those, those alternative routes so everyone's not all crammed into the same, arteries,
Yeah.
Now, this latest update from the mayor has me intrigued, I gotta say. He seems really fired up about some recent infrastructure openings.
Okay, like what?
Like that new intersection at Cherny Billy D and Todor Kableshkov Billy D.
Right.
That brand new tram line along Cherny Billy D. And the big one, that upcoming opening, the section at Bulgaria Billy D and the Ring Road on October 20th. And that's what's happening right now with this Todor Kableshkov Boulevard expansion. So imagine this. Sofia, this historic, beautiful city, but more people all the time, right? More cars.
Oh, yeah. Traffic in Sofia is, well, let's just say it's a challenge. The infrastructure, especially the roads, they just weren't designed for this many people.
Yeah.
And the result, you've got traffic nightmares, people stuck in their cars, air quality takes a hit. It's not great.
And that's where this Todor Kableshkov Boulevard expansion comes in, right? Like it's supposed to be this lifeline, this big road that connects Manastirsky Levady and Kristova Vada.
Right, trying to give people some other options, ease some of that congestion.
Exactly. But this is not just like filling some potholes. This is a total overhaul. We're talking wide roads, bike lanes, areas for people to actually walk, comfortably.
They even have plans for a tram line eventually. It's great. They really thought this through. It's not just about cars. It's about making the city more livable, more walkable.
And greener too. They're planting a ton of trees, putting in all this green space. Over 300 new trees. Did I read that right?
Yeah, something like that. And all that green space, it's huge, like a whole park almost. It's really impressive.
It really is. And the best part is, it's practically finished. They've laid most of the asphalt, the landscaping's coming along. It's really something.
Yeah, and the impact this is supposed to have is huge. We're talking potentially 40% less traffic in the city center. Think about that. Shorter commutes, less pollution, it could really make a difference.
So you think everything's great, right? Project's almost done, huge impact, but there's a catch.
Snag, it's almost done. It's supposed to open end of 2024, but there's this 80-meter stretch that's completely hit a wall.
An 80-meter standstill. You're going to have to elaborate on that one.
Okay, so picture this, right?
Right.
Right in the middle of where they want to put this road. There's this showroom and car wash.
Okay.
And the owner is refusing to sell. They're refusing any financial compensation.
Oh, wow.
They're holding out for a land swap.
Wow. Talk about driving a hard bargain. So we're not just talking about concrete and asphalt anymore. We're talking about a real person making a stand. This isn't just a traffic issue anymore. It's a power struggle.
Yeah, exactly. It shows you the human side of these projects, right?
Yeah.
It's not just lines on a map.
Right.
You've got real people living there with their own stories and everything.
So tell me about this car wash owner. What's their story? Why are they holding out? What kind of leverage does a car wash have against a multi-million euro project?
See, that's the thing. The articles don't really get into the nitty-gritty of the owner's situation, which, happens a lot.
Right.
Big headlines, but the personal stories kind of get lost.
Right. So we're missing a piece of the puzzle here. This is a big project, millions of euros. That's got to be some high stakes, even for a car wash.
Oh, yeah, definitely. And it's not just local money we're talking about either.
Yeah.
This whole thing, this third city ring road, the extension, all of it, it's being financed with a $120 million loan from the European Investment Bank.
Wow, 120 million. So this car wash owner isn't just dealing with Sophia City Hall, they're dealing with like international finance. This is starting to feel like a David and Goliath situation, but instead of a slingshot, he's got a car wash.
It definitely adds another layer to the whole thing.
Yeah.
But we've got to remember, this road, it's just one piece of a much, much bigger plan for Sophia's future.
Okay, so like what's the big picture then? What else is changing in Sophia?
Yeah. There are some really interesting plans in the works. One of the big ones is this tram line they're planning. It's going to connect Okça Kupol, which is like another district
Okay.
out on the outskirts,
Okay.
to the GM Dimitrov metro station,
Gotcha.
which would be huge EE because it'll connect like a whole bunch of people
Right.
right to the city center through the metro.
Yeah. So it's not just about cars. They're going like all in on this public transportation. I'm picturing like sleek trams gliding past.
Yeah.
No traffic, no.
That's the dream.
Yeah.
And it's not even just trams. They're doing bike lanes, pedestrian walkways,
Nice.
all along this new extension. They're calling it like an integrated transport vision, which I think sounds pretty cool.
Yeah.
They're trying to get away from those like old school car-centric cities.
Yeah. Thinking about the future, making the city more livable, less traffic, all that good stuff. But you mentioned expropriation earlier.
Right.
That's always kind of a touchy subject.
Absolutely. And
Ah.
the articles mention that like 11 million leva, which is, a lot of money,
Yeah.
went just to buying the land for this road.
11 million leva just to acquire the land. Wow. It makes you think about like the people, right?
For sure.
Whose homes or businesses were like right where they needed to build.
Yeah, it's not just numbers on a page, it's people's lives.
Yeah.
Those 11 million leva, that's someone's home. It could be a family business that's been there for generations. Who knows?
Right, right. It makes you wonder, what happens to those people? Do they get a fair deal? Is there any help for them to, start over somewhere else? It's easy to get caught up in, ooh, new road.
Yeah,
But you can't forget about the human cost.
exactly. And, it's interesting, right? Because these articles give us the facts, the plans, but they don't really paint the whole picture.
Right.
They don't tell us the stories of the people who are most affected by all of this.
It's like we're seeing the tip of the iceberg, but there's this whole other story going on beneath the surface.
Right. And sometimes those are the most important stories, like with this car wash owner.
Yeah.
Right. their story could change how we see this whole project.
You're right. You're right. There's always two sides to every story, right?
Exactly. We've talked about what the city wants, less traffic, all that. But what about the people who live there? What do they want?
Okay, so let's talk about that other side. What could be going through this car wash owner's head? Like, why refuse what I'm assuming is a big payout? What's so special about this piece of land? Is land ownership in Sofia really complicated?
Yeah, it's a good question. And honestly, the articles don't really dive deep into the legal side of things.
Right.
But I mean, think about it, Sophia. It's old.
Yeah.
Like a lot of European cities, so land ownership, it can get complicated.
Makes sense.
Generations of families, changing borders, different government.
Right. A lot of history there.
Exactly. Anytime you have a big project, a new highway, a train line, even a park, there's always someone whose property is in the way, right? Legal battles, protests, it can get messy.
It really can. Makes you wonder if there's a better way to go about it, planning these projects, I mean.
Well, I think being open about it is really important. Transparency, right? Talk to the people who live there from day one, address their concerns, really listen, try to find solutions that work for everyone.
Yeah, that makes sense. So as Sofia tries to figure out this whole mess with the boulevard, this 80-meter roadblock, I mean, it makes you think, how should cities handle these kinds of situations? How do you balance progress with individual rights? It's a tough one.
It really is. And there's no easy answer, is there? Every city is different. Every situation is different. But we have to keep talking about it, keep listening to each other, and hopefully find ways to move forward that benefit everyone in the community.
Well said. Well, that about wraps it up for our look at Sofia's Todor Kableshkov Boulevard expansion. We saw how big this project is, how it could really change things in the city, and of course, that unexpected roadblock that's got everybody talking.
It's a fascinating case study, really. Shows just how complicated urban development can be, especially in the 21st century.
And hey, maybe Sofia will find a way through this, and those lessons learned, who knows, maybe they could help other cities avoid the same kind of problems. We'll definitely be keeping an eye on it. Until next time, folks, remember, even when you're talking about concrete and steel and, big plans, sometimes it's the human stories right in the middle of it all that really make you stop and think.